With the Golden Bullet active in the 5 times XP event currently going on, many of you guys are asking what is the fastest way to level up and what is a really good build to use. I showed you guys my hotshot build, which I think is the best build to use to get max shade level and also get max XP and get golden bullets. But if you guys don't like using snipers, you want to use more of a run and gun build, well, the striker build, the one you guys are going to see here, is what I would run. I ran this on my hardcore character. A lot of you guys have been following that journey. We just hit 1,000 shade level over there, and I started running this around 200 shade. You may notice that the golden bull is active. All you need to do is activate it. So the first thing you guys want to do is go to global settings and then click here and then go to global difficulty. You want to put it on the hardest difficulty you can. So we got normal, hard, challenging, heroic is kind of where we're going to go there. And then you want to change this and put all these on except pistolero. If you want to run the hotshot build, put pistolero on. I already explained that. I also have a link to that video in the description. But again, this is going to be if you want to run a running gun build, fragile armor, fog of war, special ammo, and scavenge skills. You're going to put all 4 of these for an additional 100% XP. We are also running it on heroic. Now, what you want to do is if you want to gain max XP, you're going to want to try to get these public executions, which give you about 460,000, propaganda 434,000. If you want to throw in some control points, 722,000. Now remember, all of this is going to be times 5 with the 5 times XP. So if you guys want to get that extra XP, that is what's really good about this. So not only that, you times that times 5. So this is probably going to work better in Washington, D.C. because you have more areas to cover. I'm just in New York, so I'm just showing you that right now. Now, once you set that, you're good to go. Just go out there and start earning those global events. Now, the build we're going to be using is going to be a striker build that I was using on my hardcore character. And on my hardcore character, I was actually running Unbreakable. On this one, we're going more damage. And I'll show you guys how I have this set up. Now, a lot of you guys in my previous striker build was like, yo, Skills, I don't have the Lexington. Like, what can I use instead? Well, this video is for you because we are not using the Lexington. We are using the F2000, which is one of my favorite guns to run. And as you guys seen, it's absolutely shredding. Whether you guys have the golden bullet on or whether you guys have the modifiers on, which I think the modifiers are better this season than golden bullet, but the golden bullet is great for those stars, so you can use that at the global event vendor. This build is going to be amazing for you. And if you guys watched any of my gameplay from my hardcore character, I was running with this Unbreakable and still had enough damage to do heroic, and we had 2 directives on. I'm a little bit more safe on my hardcore character, but we don't have to be as safe when we play our regular character and we can run damage talents versus something that protects us. But overall, man, I'm telling you guys, this is that build for directives. You guys can max out that 5 times XP event, play the golden bullet. Even when the golden bullet's done, you guys can still run 4 directives and run the modifiers, which it works great with the season modifiers. So at the end of the day, if you guys are trying to max out your XP level, have fun with the run and gun build because you don't want to run a hot shot, one shot build, which is also one of my favorite builds. This is that build right here. I literally have 2 builds that I like to play for farming XP and farming other builds. This is one of them, and then the hot shot one shot is my other one, which I've already posted on this channel. But this was more of a build because everybody was asking me on the channel, yo, I don't have the Lexington, what can I run? And I wanted to showcase the F2000 works just as good. So once we clear this control point, we will have the full build breakdown. We already showed you how to put 4 directives on. We'll show you what specialization to run, and we're showing you gameplay. The 4 directives with the build works, right? That's key because now you guys have a little background on, okay, the build works, the directives are on, he's shredding enemies. How do I do the same? Well, that is where the build comes in. So we're gonna finish off this boss right here, and I think you guys are ready to find out what build I am currently using, or obviously by now some of you guys know, but how do I have the build set up? So let's get into it. So for the weapon, we are using the F2000. You can see it says 130,000 total damage, but that's because we currently have a full 30 stack on our backpack, and I'll explain that in a second. It's the same reason why we currently have 33,000 armor regen, and that's because of our backpack, and I'll explain that in a second. But what you guys really need to pay attention to is you are going to pay attention to whatever the base damage is. So my base damage on this is 49,000, so just really keep in mind that's what our base damage on the F2000 is before we get into our build itself. Now, I do have 20% expertise on this before I even started making this build, and when I was running it on my level 200 Shade hardcore character, which we leveled up to 1,000 if you guys have been following me, it was level expertise 5 and 10, and I really like this. If you don't have the Lexington, which is probably one of my favorite weapons to use in the game at the moment, which you can't get right now, the F2000 is a great weapon to use instead of that. We have assault rifle health damage to targets out of cover. Now we do have killer on here. Killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 70% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. I love this talent, especially in PvE. Now we have critical hit chance on the scope. We have 20 rounds for the extended magazine, and then we have another 5% critical hit chance on the muzzle brake. If you guys want to have an extra mod slot, you could go with something like the Police M4. I really like the F2000. Now, mine is the F2000 replica. That means you can craft this at the crafting station if you have the blueprint. Now, for my secondary, the Scorpio is actually a really good piece to put here. You can really run any one you want. The Scorpio is great for in case you get those harder enemies like those rogue agents that appear randomly in the open world, or if you get any hunters or something like that. This could be great to stop them. You could swap back to the F2000, but the build is built around the F2000 itself. So for the mask, we are going to be running a 4-piece striker. I believe this is a great setup to run for all new players, especially if you're new or even veterans, right? This will allow you to run 4 directives as I mentioned earlier. If you look here, we have armor, critical damage, critical hit chance. For the chest piece, you can run 2 different chest pieces. I'm actually going to bring up the other one you can run because some of you guys might not want to run this one, and you can either run either one of these. So I am running the Zoo chest piece. The reason why is for that 15% magazine size. If you feel like you're not doing enough damage or you need a little bit more crit chance because say you are only Shade level 250, 200, then a Cheska piece will be a better place for you because it gives you that 8% critical hit chance. Once you hit level 1000, on your Shade watch, then 15% magazine size is actually really good on this setup. We have weapon damage, we have critical damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit chance. On both of them, you're going to be running obliterate, so it doesn't really matter. That's really up to you. So critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacks up to 20 times, additional 20% extra weapon damage. Now, again, like I said, you could run a Cheska, a Grupo, whatever you want, versus the Zoo. As you guys level up, the Zoo is going to be really good. I think it works great. We have enough damage. For the holster, we're running our second piece of strikers with weapon damage, critical hit damage. For our knee pads, we're running our third piece of strikers, weapon damage, critical hit damage rolls. And then the gloves are going to be our fourth and final piece with weapon damage, critical hit chance. Now for the backpack, we are running the Memento backpack, which weapon damage, armor, skill tier, critical hit chance. And what I was telling you guys, most of you guys know once you build the 30 stack, you can maintain this the whole time. That's additional 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen. That's why you guys saw the armor regen early on when I showed you. Also, anytime I pick up a trophy, that's 25% weapon damage, 20% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency. So really, really good piece here. Okay, so let's talk about it. If you guys don't have this piece, what you could start off with is running a striker backpack. In the meantime, very easy piece to get. Put armor, weapon damage, whatever you want, and then you can run critical hit damage. And then you could just swap out the mask. So instead of running a striker mask, if you get the Coyote's mask, you can put it there. If you want to run a Cheska mask or if you want to run a Grupo mask, that's up to you, but you could swap that out for the Coyote mask instead, and that could be your starter striker build until you can get the backpack. But once you get the backpack, this is how I would run this build. Works really, really good. If you look at the stats, they should be normalized by now. So if you look at it, we're running 50% crit chance, 91% crit damage, and look, now we're where we should be, 115% weapon damage is what it should show without the 30 stack. And the way to check that is our armor regen also went away. You see it, but I showed you earlier what it was. 1.1 million armor because we get the armor on kill from the gunner class. So you want to put the gunner class on. Again, this is kind of how I run it. I really like this. This is the total damage. You should see 115, not that 130. 130 is when we have the full 30 stack. This build Works great for directives. This is going to be a really good build for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, nothing but skills out.